Greetings, I'm President Ron Leibowitz. Today we have the opportunity to celebrate the achievements of 5 distinguished individuals who will receive their formal honorary degrees during our main commencement celebration on Sunday, May 23rd. Although we cannot gather together in person for this year's traditional honorary degree dinner due to the COVID-19 pandemic, I'm thankful we can still honor these 5 individuals through this pre-recorded presentation. Each year, when the honorary degree portion of our commencement celebration approaches, I often reflect on one of Justice Louis Brandeis's most well-known quotes, that most of the things worth doing in the world had been declared impossible before they were done. Each in their own way, Ellen Gordon, the late Herman Hemingway, Lynn Schusterman, Bryan Stevenson, and Robert Zimmer have shaped their lives and careers around things that are indeed worth doing. And whether doing things extraordinary in academia, business, or philanthropy, each of these individuals has left an important mark on our society and world, oftentimes against long odds. I am honored to have the opportunity to welcome each of our honorees to join the long list of renowned honorary degree recipients who have been celebrated at Brandeis. And I would like to thank them for their devotion to bettering society and embodying the spirit of Brandeis's values. I would now like to welcome Meyer Kaplow, Chair of the Board of Trustees, to say a few words.
Thank you, President Leibowitz, for the introduction. This has been an astonishing year with unparalleled challenges and obstacles. That being said, I've never been prouder of Brandeis as a community for our perseverance and ability to face these obstacles head on. This year's honorary degree recipients each represent not only the spirit of Brandeis, but embody the perseverance that our university has had to face within their own accomplishments and leadership in the law, philanthropy, education, and navigating the business realm. To our honorary degree recipients, I am inspired by each of your many achievements, and I'm honored to celebrate you today. As the video that will now play so eloquently illustrates, you join an impressive list of distinguished individuals who Brandeis has had the privilege of recognizing with an honorary degree.
Each year, Brandeis University continues the legacy of the justice for whom it was named by encouraging social justice, a respect for human rights, and a commitment to building a better world. And each year, Brandeis University awards honorary degrees to men and women who exemplify this mission by pursuing their life's work with excellence, commitment, and passion.
First Lady Eleanor Roosevelt received an honorary degree from Brandeis University.
While the victims of fitness madness are not allowed to build new lives.
I request that both sides begin anew the quest for peace.
Involve Vietnam and be in serious negotiation towards a durable peace.
Secretary of State Madeleine Albright accepts an honorary degree from Brandeis University.
Look out after the working poor.
Congressman John Lewis of Georgia led the 1965 vote.
The House will come to order.
Presence in this moment challenge the world.
Leader of a divided Labour Party.
Give the British will remain free.
Presented to John Pope Franklin. The Pulitzer Prize for Biography.
The Penn Faulkner Award for Fiction.
In the fight against evil, there are no bystanders. Onlookers are not neutral. They are complicit.
This is Walter Cronkite. Good luck.
Prize for international reporting.
They have families and hopes and dreams.
When we want desperately, sometimes almost hopelessly, to believe.
Oh, what a beautiful morning.
Sports legend Bill Russell is awarded the honorary degree in humane letters.
You get. Go on now, get. You ain't doing no good.
Sisters, there were never.
I'd like to do it again.
Dawn of Colonel John Glenn's Day of Destiny.
If you say, wow, when you're in that place, you must be something happening.
At 9. Yatta, tata, very commanding.
Thank you on behalf of 6 million Tibetan people.
We are duty bound to try and not to bury our memories.
Brandeis honors these men and women who have followed their destinies with open minds and given to the world the gift of their dedication and passion.
Do not tell me they could not reach those kids and save them. I know they could.
Hello, I'm Carol Fierke, Provost, and I am delighted to introduce our first honorary degree recipient, Ellen Gordon. For more than 5 decades, Ellen Gordon and her late husband, Melvin, built Tootsie Roll Industries into one of the largest U.S. candy makers. A New York Stock Exchange-listed company with operations throughout North America, distribution channels in more than 75 countries, and annual global sales of more than $500 million. Gordon joined Tootsie Roll Industries in 1968, serving as Vice President of Product Development, then Senior Vice President and President and COO starting in 1978, before being named Chair and CEO after her husband's death in 2015. She has served as a board member or trustee at CPC International, HDI Investment Corporation, the National Confectioners Association, Northwestern University's Kellogg School of Management, Global Advisory Board, and Unilever Best Foods. She is a founding member, former president, and former foundation chair of the Committee of 200, an organization of the world's most successful women entrepreneurs and corporate leaders. In 1992, Gordon was the first woman speaker at Brandeis's Business and Professional Network. She received the university's Alumni Achievement Award in 2000. A dedicated philanthropist, Gordon has generously supported institutions that advance education, healthcare, human services, and many other causes. Before we hear from Ellen, I'm delighted to introduce Katie Grady, Dean of Brandeis's International Business School, and Fred and Rita Richmond Distinguished Professor of Economics.
It is my incredible honor to speak about Ellen Gordon. In December of 2018, shortly after I became dean, I was taking a trip to Chicago, and Peter Petrie, the founding dean of the International Business School, said that I must visit Ellen Gordon at the Tootsie Roll factory, and he went on to describe his visit. I had the impression that his enjoyment was much like that of any person in a candy factory, complete with leaving with a huge package of Tootsie Rolls. In great anticipation, I wrote to Ellen Gordon, who immediately replied that she would be very happy to meet. Unfortunately, the timing didn't work out. With the ensuing intervention of the pandemic, I have yet to meet Ellen myself in person or tour the factory, and I can't wait to do so. Ellen Gordon's reputation as a female executive is inspiring to us all. In her words from a previous interview, "When I wrote my senior paper in high school, I remember writing that I wish I could become a businesswoman. After completing her Brandeis degree at age 34 and bringing her daughter with her to class, she fulfilled her dream. And as many of us would aspire to, she has passed on her love of her profession, business, to her daughters." Ellen Gordon was elected president of Tootsie Roll Industries in April 1978. At the time, she was only the second woman to be elected president of a company listed on the New York Stock Exchange. In 2015, she became chairman and CEO. She has pursued business as an occupation, in the words of Louis Brandeis, largely for others and not merely for oneself, with her strong philanthropic support of organizations that advance education, healthcare, human services, and many other causes. Ellen Gordon is the third generation of her family, the Rubin family, to be involved with Tootsie Roll. Her grandson is also involved in the company, resulting so far in 5 generations of family involvement. May Tootsie Roll Industries be going strong after another 5 generations. Thank you, Ellen Gordon, for your excellence as a global business leader.
Thank you to the Brandeis leadership team for recognizing me with this very prestigious honorary degree. I am greatly honored and especially privileged to join such a distinguished group of other recipients of this award. Brandeis, of course, is a very special place for so many of us. But most meaningful to me is Brandeis's long-standing tradition of being more than a few steps ahead of its time. And so it was with me. After high school, I went to Vassar College. After my second year of college, I got married and transferred to Wellesley College. Soon I began to have children, and I left school to raise our daughters. After the third of our 4 children was born, I went back to college and completed my undergraduate degree at Brandeis. There, I was able to further my studies in a rigorous and intellectual environment, but it was different. It was also now a wife and a mom. Brandeis always treated me very well. I was given a parking space on campus so that I could be on time to pick up my children from school. When the babysitter couldn't come, No one batted an eye when my youngest daughter came to class with me and colored pictures quietly in the back row of the classroom. Brandeis always gave me the encouragement to pursue my ambitions. They encouraged me to challenge any limitation that society traditionally had. At a critical time in my life, Brandeis taught me many lifelong lessons that have influenced me over the years with the demands of family, work, and society. Like Tootsie Rolls, Brandeis has a proud history and strong traditions. In addition to its rigorous academic curriculum, it has always prided itself on its openness to new ideas and its encouragement of intellectual explorations and its emphasis on social consciousness. So, to the resilient class of 2021, I congratulate you on this very special day. Your accomplishments are already remarkable. And with the Brandeis traditions at your back, you will surely go on to achieve extraordinary things. You are the promise of a healthier, a better, and of course, as we like to say, a sweeter tomorrow for all of us. Thank you again for this wonderful award.
Our next honorary degree recipient, the late Herman Hemingway, who passed away in December 2020, was the first Black man to graduate from Brandeis. Herman was a lawyer, public defender, law professor, public housing administrator, and architect of the Boston Human Rights Commission. He devoted his life to advocating for the poor, fighting racial bigotry, and broadly advancing the cause of social justice. Growing up in Boston's Roxbury section, where it was a largely Jewish neighborhood, as a high school student, he won scholarship offers from Brandeis, Harvard, and Boston College. He selected the then brand new Brandeis because he thought it would be an innovative and exciting place to study. Herman earned a bachelor's degree in Near Eastern and Judaic Studies. He received a law degree from Suffolk University and served as a public defender in the district courts in Roxbury and Chelsea. He then founded his own civil rights law practice. His advocacy brought him into the administration of Boston Mayor Kevin White, where he served as an acting administrator of the Boston Housing Authority and assisted in the creation of the Boston Housing Court and the Boston Human Rights Commission. Herman traveled to Nigeria on a 3-year sabbatical to serve as a lecturer on the American legal system at the Ahmadu Bello University in Zaria. He returned to the U.S. to become chair of Boston State College's Department of Public Service, chair of the Department of Criminal Justice at the University of Massachusetts, Boston, and a senior fellow at its McCormick Institute, an adjunct professor at the Boston College and Boston University Law Schools. We are honored to celebrate Herman's life achievements with his daughter, Myra. First, it is my pleasure to introduce Chad Williams, professor and Samuel J. and Augusta Spector Chair in History, to offer reflections on Herman Hemingway, and we will then hear from Myra Hemingway.
One of my earliest Brandeis memories is of Herman Hemingway. It was September of 2012, and I was new to the university, only a few weeks into my position as chair of the African and African American Studies Department. We had organized a beginning of the year welcome reception and extended the invitation to alumni. Mr. Hemingway generously attended. I vividly recall our serendipitous encounter from that late fall afternoon. He humbly introduced himself, and we talked about Brandeis, its history, and the place of African Americans in it. He was the last person to leave, and our conversation spilled outside of the Mandel Center for the Humanities and onto Loop Road as I walked with him back to his car, dusk engulfing the campus. The history of African Americans at Brandeis, in so many ways, begins with Herman Hemingway. In 1953, Mr. Hemingway joined Teresa Danley as the first 2 Black people to graduate from Brandeis. He was a pioneer, paving the way for future Black students to find a space as challenging as it was and still is within the university. Mr. Hemingway, who established a campus chapter of the NAACP, also laid the foundation for a history of Black student activism that continues today. A lawyer, teacher, freedom fighter, Mr. Hemingway was brilliant, passionate, selfless, and kind. I last saw him in early 2019. I was teaching a course titled Black Brandeis, Black History, which explored the history of African Americans and other people of African descent at Brandeis from its founding to the present. On January 24th, Mr. Hemingway visited the class. He spoke about his life experiences, at times becoming choked with emotion, and what Brandeis meant to him. A few weeks later, on February 8th, I saw Mr. Hemingway for the final time at the 50th anniversary commemoration of the AAAS department. In attendance were some of Brandeis's most distinguished Black alumni, Angela Davis, Juliana Richardson, Hortense Spillers, the veterans of the Ford Hall protest in 1969. During what would be his last visit to Brandeis, Mr. Hemingway was surrounded by generations of Black alumni, faculty and staff, and current students that, whether they realized it or not, stood on his shoulders. Mr. Hemingway is a giant. He helped make Brandeis into the university it is today. But even more importantly, fought for what Brandeis must continue to aspire to become: a university that puts social justice into action, that embraces its responsibility to the world, and recognizes that the commitment to Black lives is a commitment to our shared humanity. I'm very happy that Brandeis has seen fit to award Mr. Hemingway with an honorary degree, and I offer my best wishes and congratulations to his family on this accomplishment.
Ladies and gentlemen, fellow honorary degree recipients, to the Brandeis University class of 2021, their families, to the Brandeis faculty, staff, and President Ron Leibowitz, it is with great honor that I accept this honorary Doctor of Humane Letter degree from Brandeis University, posthumously awarded to my late father, Herman W. Hemingway. My father was an eloquent speaker, not only in the delivery of his pearls of wisdom, but in the substance of which he spoke. His journey through life, from humble beginnings, raised by a single mother, the eldest of three, he realized at an early age that education would provide him with the skills to achieve his full potential. His decision to attend Brandeis University was born from this realization, an opportunity to be part of a brand new university during a time when the civil rights movement was building momentum. Brandeis allowed my father the opportunity to develop friendships with classmates that were uniquely familiar with the similarities of race and discrimination. Brandeis was a place where he felt welcomed, and he was able to share his views about racial inequities and social change. My father's career as an attorney, educator, and public servant would not have happened had it not been for his experiences at Brandeis that provided him with the tools to forge his path during times of uncertainty. My father was a man of many words who credited much of his success to his unwavering faith in God and the people who came into his life that believed in him and invested in his potential. He offered those who knew him many teachable moments through his journey, and he always appreciated the opportunities that were afforded to him. Thank you for honoring my father with this Doctor of Humane Letter degree. We are so proud that he is being recognized for his leadership and humanitarianism.
I'm now pleased to recognize Lynn Schusterman, the co-founder and chair emerita of Charles and Lynn Schusterman Family Philanthropies, a global organization working in the United States and Israel to achieve more just and inclusive societies. Schusterman Family Philanthropies has created transformational opportunities in the lives of thousands of people for 34 years, driving long-term systemic change through investments in leaders, organizations, and public policy. In the United States, the organization works to advance racial, gender, and economic equity, as well as to foster a more joyful and diverse Jewish community. In Israel, the organization works toward a vision of a secure Zionist Jewish homeland with a strong democracy and thriving civil society that cares for its most vulnerable. At Brandeis, Lynn Schusterman created and endowed the Schusterman Center for Israel Studies, one of the world's leading economic institutions focused on modern Israel. She served on the university's board of trustees from 2008 to 2010. In a moment, we will hear from Lynn's good friend about her many philanthropic commitments, some of which include serving as founding board member of the Birthright Israel Foundation and the Israel Institute. In 2000, along with her late husband Charles, Schusterman was inducted into the Tulsa Hall of Fame, in 2003 into the Oklahoma Women's Hall of Fame, and in 2006 into the Oklahoma Hall of Fame. The following year, she received an honorary doctorate of humane letters from the Hebrew Union College, Jewish Institute of Religion. She was honored in 2008 with the Woodrow Wilson International Center for Scholars Public Service Award, and in 2011 joined Warren Buffett, Bill Gates, and other leading wealthy individuals and families in signing the Giving Pledge. In doing so, Schusterman has committed the majority of her wealth to philanthropy. I am delighted to introduce Lynn's longtime friend and colleague, Itamar Rabinovich, who will offer some thoughts before we hear from Lynn.
It's a pleasure and a privilege for me to introduce my partner and friend, Lynn Schusterman, for an honorary doctorate at Brandeis University. For many years now, Lynn has been a civic leader, a philanthropist. She is, in these capacities, a warm leader endowed with vision and, of course, kindness and generosity. She has been active in her own hometown of Tulsa, in the American Jewish context, in the United States, in Israel, and in the Jewish world at large. In this context, Lynn developed a particular interest in the academic discipline of Israel studies. Israel studies is an academic area emerging that has been for many years sandwiched uncomfortably between Middle Eastern studies and Jewish studies. And Lynn is one of the individuals who took it from that fledgling state into the much better state in which Israel studies are today. First, by establishing the Schusterman Center for Israel Studies at Brandeis, then by starting a smaller one at the University of Texas, and finally in 2012, in starting the Israel Institute in Washington. This is an academic entity devoted to consolidating and developing the whole field of Israel studies, working with centers, institutes, universities in the United States, in Europe, and, surprise, surprise, in China. She and the image and the figures she projects have come through so remarkably through all of these activities. She deserves this honorary doctorate, this recognition amply and richly, and I'm delighted to be part of the ceremony in which she is awarded the honorary doctorate.
Thank you so much to Brandeis University for honoring me with the Doctor of Humane Letters. It is so very meaningful to receive this degree from the country's first secular university founded on Jewish values. These same values guided my own life work and my family's philanthropy, which is committed to building a more just and inclusive society in the United States and Israel. I am so very grateful to President Ron Leibowitz, who has been an advocate for these values, and to all of the Brandeis Schusterman Center for Israel Studies stands for. I also want to thank the Schusterman Center's leaders and supporters, past and present, who have been integral to its growth and its impact. Most importantly, I am grateful to our inspiring students. It is with pride that I watch you, the class of 2021, begin your journey as Brandeis alumni. You are stepping into the world not only with an exceptional education, but with the ability to think creatively and collectively about the world's most pressing issues. This skill is not only essential for thriving in academia, it is the most valuable tool for making the world a better place. Brandeis' commitment to fostering this type of thinking brought me here more than 10 years ago to launch the Schusterman Center for Israel Studies. The center has built a vibrant, multidisciplinary and academic environment where modern Israel is taught and studied with the energy, thoughtfulness, and the intellectual rigor it deserves. This work has never been so important. We live in an age of misinformation and distortion. We need to recommit ourselves to the pursuit of truth, understanding, and respect for diverse perspectives. My hope is that the universities across the country can learn from Brandeis leaderships and prioritize complex, multifaceted narrative in education, be it about Israel or any other important issue. In doing so, we can pave the way towards building a more inclusive and equitable society where people of all backgrounds can live with respect and dignity. Class of 2021, you are our leaders, modeling how to collaborate, how to talk with civility, even when we disagree, and how to act out our values. I am counting on each and every one of you to take what you have learned at Brandeis and lead us toward a more just world. Congratulations, and may we all go from strength to strength.
Our next honoree is Bryan Stevenson, who has dedicated his career to helping the poor, the incarcerated, and the condemned. A public interest lawyer, Stevenson founded and serves as executive director of the Equal Justice Initiative. The Alabama-based organization has prevailed in major legal challenges that overturned excessive and unfair sentencing practices, defended children prosecuted as adults, and confronted the abuse of the incarcerated and the mentally ill. The initiative has also won reprieves for innocent prisoners sentenced to death. The initiative's work led to a landmark 2012 U.S. Supreme Court decision. The ruling mandated that life sentences without parole for children 17 years old and younger violate the Constitution. Stevenson is the author of Just Mercy, a story of justice and redemption, which was made into a film in 2019. He also led efforts to create two acclaimed national cultural sites that opened in 2018, the Legacy Museum and the National Memorial for Peace and Justice. The sites chronicle the legacy of slavery, lynching, and racial segregation, and their links to contemporary issues of mass incarceration and racism. Stevenson graduated from Harvard Law School and the Harvard Kennedy School of Government. He began his career at the Southern Center for Human Rights in Atlanta. He's been a faculty member at the New York University School of Law since 1998. Stevenson's many honors and recognitions include the MacArthur Fellowship, the ACLU National Medal of Liberty, the Olaf Palm Prize for International Human Rights. He's also received honorary degrees from more than 40 universities and colleges, including Harvard, Yale, Princeton, and Georgetown Law. As this year's keynote speaker, Bryan will be joining us during our main commencement on May 23rd, where he will receive a Doctor of Laws. Today we have Leah Wright-Rigueur, Harry Truman Associate Professor of History, to share a few words about Bryan's inspirational work.
Hello, everyone. My name is Leah Wright-Rigueur, and I am the Harry Truman Associate Professor of American History at Brandeis University. Thank you for having me. I have the honor of offering remarks for a man who needs no introduction. At this stage, Bryan Stevenson is ubiquitous. The challenge for me, or for anyone really, in offering words of praise and reflection is, what is there left to say that hasn't already been said? Now, a colleague once referred to Mr. Stevenson as a Renaissance man, the likes of which we haven't seen since Paul Robeson, a Harvard graduate twice over, a MacArthur Genius Grant recipient, a New York Times best-selling and award-winning author, and most recently, the subject of a blockbuster award-winning film. Now, if you'll indulge me a bit, I can even say that, like Mr. Robeson, Mr. Stevenson was a singer and played competitive sports in college. Now, through his work, especially the Equal Justice Initiative, Mr. Stevenson has spread the gospel of justice, equity, and empathy. He has done it with a kind of religious fervor, and in the process has managed to convert a good portion of the rest of the nation as well. We know that his work has been impactful. His legal work has eliminated excessive and unfair sentencing. For example, he's exonerated innocent men on death row and has confronted and rejected the draconian conditions of the American carceral state and system. In a nation that continues to deny children, especially Black children, sanctuary and dignity, Mr. Stevenson has won a number of prominent victories, recognizing the humanity of incarcerated children and young adults while restoring their constitutional rights. Perhaps what is most remarkable about Mr. Stevenson is that, having met him several times and having seen him speak on a number of different occasions, I'm still moved by his sense of humility, integrity, passion, and most significantly, his commitment to bestowing grace upon those less fortunate, for fighting for the most vulnerable and marginalized members of our society, including those who have committed even the most heinous of acts or crimes. I'm struck by a quote from Mr. Stevenson, borrowed from an interview in the 1990s, where he says, "When we execute someone, we're saying life has no purpose. I've met people on death row, none about whom I could say this person's life has no purpose." That's a powerful sentiment, made all the more so given that we live in a nation that values punishment. Mr. Stevenson's voice, then, has played an instrumental and critical role in challenging our country to imagine ourselves differently, as a nation committed to restorative justice, rehabilitation, and truth-telling. And we see that Mr. Stevenson's impact has been such on all sides of the aisle. It is bipartisan, right? It is beyond partisanship. He's been wildly successful, and I'd argue he's changed the zeitgeist of our American culture around race, justice, and incarceration. I want to close by giving a brief example, a powerful example of Mr. Stevenson's impact on our nation. In 2018, the Equal Justice Initiative launched the National Memorial for Peace and Justice, a memorial dedicated to the legacy of enslaved Black people, people that were brutally tortured and ritualistically lynched, African Americans living under the nadir of segregation and Jim Crow, and Black people burdened with the contemporary presumption of guilt and police violence. Now, my good friend worked on this project under Bryan Stevenson, and he had no shortage of amazing stories and tales to tell. And he also said it was wonderful having a boss like Bryan Stevenson, so all good there. But he also spent hours researching racial lynchings in America and collecting data on the atrocities. He also helped collect the soil, the actual physical soil from the lynching sites, an integral part of the present-day memorial site. When my friend first described the project to me, he and I both were moved to tears. That acknowledgement of Black trauma and injustice, but also documenting and exposing that which was unspoken for over a century, has fundamentally remade our American society in ways that can't be calculated. As a historian, as a teacher, Mr. Stevenson's project for me, right, his project and his data and the memorial are an integral part of my classroom experience. But more than that, Mr. Stevenson has restored the idea of dignity and sanctuary in death, where it was once missing. And for that, we should all be grateful. And for that, we see a model for the future. Thank you.
To President Leibowitz, Provost Fierk, and the entire Brandeis Board of Trustees, let me say thank you for this wonderful recognition and this extraordinary honor. It means a great deal to me to receive an honorary degree from an institution that has been so central to shaping the lives of critical thinkers in America for so long. I'm really honored to have an association with the university and to be part of this year's commencement events. I've spent my career trying to help the poor, trying to serve those who are in need. I believe that we have a criminal legal system that treats you better if you're rich and guilty than if you're poor and innocent. There are too many places where inequality and injustice is creating hardship and pain and suffering. And I feel called to respond to that. And I believe that you have an institution that recognizes the importance of dealing with inequality, addressing injustice, serving the poor. And that's what makes me proud to be a part of this assemblage, to receive this award. I've often believed that if we affirm basic human rights, if we recognize the demands of human dignity, if we respect one another, if we challenge inequality and injustice and oppression, then we can create great futures. And I believe that there is a better future waiting for us. I do. And I hope that everyone graduating from Brandeis this year will embrace the opportunity we all have to advance justice, to protect human rights. I know that you share that vision, or you wouldn't have invited me to be with you, and I want to just thank you for that and extend my heartfelt, sincere gratitude to each and every one of you, and wish you all the best during this commencement season. Thank you.
I'm now delighted to recognize the many accomplishments of our esteemed academic colleague, Bob Zimmer. Appointed in 2006 as the 13th president of the University of Chicago, Bob Zimmer is a strong advocate for access and affordability in higher education, and an outspoken defender of the importance of free expression and open discourse on college campuses. In 2014, he commissioned a faculty committee, the Committee on Freedom of Expression, which developed the Chicago Principles. These principles have become a widely adopted national model for promoting free, robust, and uninhibited debate and deliberation in the academy and beyond. In recognition of his work in support of free expression, he was given the Philip Merrill Award for Outstanding Contributions to Liberal Arts Education by the American Council of Trustees and Alumni in 2017. Bob authored 4 books and more than 80 academic papers in differential geometry, ergodic theory, and other mathematical topics. He was also a distinguished professor and deputy provost at the University of Chicago before joining Brown University from 2002 to 2006 as the Ford Foundation Professor of Mathematics and Provost. A 2013 winner of Brandeis's Alumni Achievement Award, Bob served on the National Science Foundation's governing board from 2011 to 2016 and on the President's Committee on the National Medal of Science from 2008 to 2010. Bob earned master's and PhD degrees from Harvard University. He's held teaching positions at Harvard, as well as the U.S. Naval Academy and institutions in Australia, France, Israel, Italy, and Switzerland. He also has honorary degrees from Tsinghua University and Colby College, and he will become chancellor at the University of Chicago in September. I would now like to welcome Bob's dear friends, Brandeis board member Sylvia Neal and her husband Dan, and Joseph Neubauer, chair of the Board of Trustees of the University of Chicago, to say a few words. Bob will then conclude with some reflections.
Bob, Dan and I are honored to be asked to celebrate you, our dear friend and colleague. We are so pleased that Brandeis is bestowing this honorary degree on you. You are the ultimate quintessential Brandeis graduate of all time. Proud of your roots, brilliant, successful, and committed to making the world a better place. Your achievements are many: an extraordinary university president, a great mathematician, a devoted father, and wonderful husband. Shadi and you have a true partnership. Indeed, you may also be the coolest mathematician that ever lived. During your tenure, the University of Chicago became renowned not just as one of the great academic institutions of the world, but one of the coolest too. In awarding this degree, I hope that Brandeis students will be inspired by you, your commitment to rigorous thinking, independent thought, respect for ideas, and the pursuit of knowledge. A clear, brave, strong voice leading the way, not just in academia, but throughout the world, valuing discourse, inquiry, and the open mind. And most of all, you are a mensch. Congratulations and much love.
As usual, it's hard to follow, Sylvia, but I also want to share my congratulations. There's so many things that you've done and you've accomplished. It's hard to know where to start, but I just want to say a word or two about what you've done at the University of Chicago and for really higher education throughout the world. As a former dean, one of the things that I've done is I've studied the history of the University of Chicago. And I think without question, you will go down in history, and you're still going. So you still have history to go. But based on everything that you've done, you will go down in history of the University of Chicago as truly one of its great presidents, one of the universities, one of the leaders of the university that really embodies everything that the university stands for, everything that makes the university great, and you've made the university even greater. You will go down along with the great founder of the university, William Rainey Harper, as a truly transformational figure. And 100 years from now, when future deans are researching the history of the university, you will be prominent among those who will be studied as one of the great men in the history of the University of Chicago. And the other thing that I want to mention is, because of everything that you've done at the University of Chicago as a leader, making the university great, but also embodying the values of free expression, open exchange of ideas, you've become a model for universities everywhere. And it's no accident that around the country, people know of you and regard you as really the greatest living university president. And for that, along with everything else that you've accomplished, you really are well deserving of this great honor of receiving this honorary degree. So Bob, my close friend, our congratulations, and we can't wait to see you and Shadi in person and celebrate this great honor. Congratulations.
Hello, I'm Jer Neubauer. It's my pleasure to introduce my friend and colleague, Robert Zimmer, to you. My wife Jeanette is a Brandeis graduate, a former trustee, and she and I have been long-term supporters of innovation at this university. I'm also chairman of the board of the University of Chicago, and have had the privilege of working with Bob Zimmer almost since the first day after he became our 13th president. During the 15 years of his presidency, the University of Chicago has enhanced its eminence among the top-ranked research universities in the United States and the world. During his tenure, the university has strengthened its position as a preferred destination for world-leading scholars as well as gifted students. Under Bob's inspired leadership, the university has made substantial investments to fulfill the programmatic ambitions of the faculty, support the exceptional scholarship and education for which the university is known, increase financial support for students, and build relationships with our surrounding neighbors on the south side of Chicago. Personally, I've always defined the essence of a university as great faculty and outstanding students. Since 2006, Bob's vision and leadership have enhanced student success and opportunity. He has grown the tenured and tenured track faculty by 24%, created deeper engagement of our affiliated laboratories, Argonne National Laboratory, Fermi National Accelerator Laboratory, and the Marine Biological Sciences Laboratory, all for the benefit of our faculty and students. Bob created Chicago's first engineering program, launched the Pritzker School of Molecular Engineering, where applied science and quantum computing are just a couple of the examples of how his long-range vision and can-do attitude resulted in totally new fields of inquiry, not only for the university, but for the academy at large. He also insisted on the value and need for arts and humanities education, constructing a new arts building, as well as a Mansuetti Institute for Urban Innovation, among many other noteworthy innovations. Driven by his devotion to Chicago's core principles, with emphasis on rigorous scholarship inquiry, academic freedom of expression, as well as the diversity and inclusion, Bob reinforced Chicago's distinct culture, heritage, while helping the institution evolve appropriately to unique challenges of our time. These many achievements require a clear vision, a strong disciplined team, and an ever-growing list of partners and supporters. Bob will continue to provide leadership to the University of Chicago in his new role as Chancellor. Bob would not have achieved any of these without the strong foundation his undergraduate years at Brandeis provided. I want to congratulate Brandeis University for selecting one of its own, Bob Zimmer, to receive an honorary degree today. I can think of no other academic leader who pursues the Brandeis motto, truth even unto its innermost part, more passionately than Bob Zimmer. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Board Chair Koplow, President Ron Leibowitz, and Provost Carol Fierke for this warm welcome and the generous words. I particularly want to acknowledge and thank President Ron Leibowitz. He and I have had an opportunity to discuss Brandeis, higher education, and the challenges and opportunities of leading these most important institutions. And as an alumnus of Brandeis and a colleague, I have greatly valued the thoughtfulness, values, and wisdom that President Leibowitz has shown. I also want to thank my good friends of long standing, Sylvia Neal, Dan Fischel, and Joe Neubauer, for generously participating in today's event, for their most generous words, and for their wonderful friendship over the years. One of the features of being at a stage of life where one is fortunate to be receiving an honorary degree is that it offers a time for reflection on the forces that had a strong impact on how your life has unfolded. Of course, one's family, in particular parents and those that came before, inevitably have an outsized impact. For me, Brandeis also had an outsized impact, and I would point out three important ways this was manifest. The first concerns mathematics. It was at Brandeis that I first experienced mathematics in a mature form, saw the power and beauty of its multiple approaches to structure, and the sheer excitement of this remarkable area of human endeavor. I had the benefit of a wonderful mathematics faculty here at Brandeis that guided this discovery, and I want to mention Michael Spivak, Al Vasquez, and Dick Palais, now all gone from Brandeis, who were particularly inspiring in opening up this extraordinary world for me. And I also want to mention Stefan Berko, a physicist who made that subject, of course, one closely related to mathematics, come alive for me. The second important influence of Brandeis was an education beyond mathematics and physics, namely the excitement of a liberal arts curriculum in which one learned to deeply appreciate context, culture, and history as important frameworks for all topics of study and analysis has stayed with me my whole life, and which I feel serves me well every day. In this regard, I want to mention Professors Richard Honorato and Philip Rov, who conveyed the joys and skills of reading carefully, reading in context, and showing how careful and contextual reading greatly enhanced the enjoyment of the beauty of what was being read. And I want to mention Henry David Aiken and the joy of the Scottish Enlightenment and reading David Hume. And third was the environment of endless discourse with friends at Brandeis. In discussing the importance of free expression and open discourse around the country, as I do, it is evident that in the current period, many persons unfortunately seem to only feel comfortable if people have the same general views as they do, limiting their friendships and what they can learn from them. In contrast, I often recall growing up in Greenwich Village and then the tumultuous 60s at Brandeis, a time of the civil rights movement and conflicts about the Vietnam War. In both of these cases, there was lots of argument, lots of discussion, and then we would all go together to play stickball or bridge if in New York, or bridge or touch football if at Brandeis. Disagreements did not mean we could not be friends or close. It meant we had plenty to discuss. This, too, was a valuable educational and social feature at Brandeis, one that I value and that continues to stay with me every day. Let me conclude by again expressing my thanks. Brandeis gave me a great deal, only some of which I have tried to indicate today. It is a moment to recognize this and express thanks for it. Likewise, I am deeply appreciative of the recognition of my work by virtue of the honorary degree awarded today, something I will always greatly value, and I want to express my deep appreciation to the leadership of Brandeis, the faculty, the board, and all those who had a hand in my receiving this recognition. So for today, and for the past and its impact on the present and future, let me say thank you to all of Brandeis University.
Once again, congratulations to this year's honorary degree recipients. Despite the challenges we have faced this past year, I am pleased that we are able to celebrate these 5 outstanding individuals and honor them, albeit virtually. I look forward to coming together in the near future as a community and wish this year's recipients continued success. Thank you for being part of this wonderful celebration.